Making headlines tonight. The National Assembly will continue the 6th plenary session on Wednesday. One of the agenda is the draft law for Cambodia-Korea Free Trade Agreement. The first batch of Pfizer vaccine from the Australian government has arrived in the Kingdom of Cambodia. The national examination for high school students has kicked off. Parents have high hopes for their children to pass. The 5th Samdech Techo Hun Sen tournament has successfully held, with the team of the Director General of Immigration winning the competition. A tiny frog found in a box of lettuce became an overnight viral sensation after several escape attempts and its eventual adoption. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Yuri Matosco.
The National Assembly meeting on Monday has approved the 6th plenary session to be conducted on Wednesday. This is to approve important draft laws, including the Cambodia-Korea Free Trade Agreement. The initial session on Monday was led by the National Assembly President Heng Samrin. The Assembly has approved Wednesday's agenda, including the draft law on amendment to the law on commercial enterprises and the draft law on the amendment of the law on commercial rules and commercial registration. The commercial draft laws are expected to tackle about the enterprises or businesses in Cambodia, as well as the trade rules and business registration. The Cambodia-Korea Free Trade Agreement was signed virtually on 26 October. It aims to liberalize the two countries' bilateral trade and enhance the economic and social cooperation through reciprocal advantages and understanding of the two nations. In addition, the Free Trade Agreement will also bind and lay a catalyst pathway for economic recovery that has been impacted by COVID-19 in both countries. Reyes Soko, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen receives the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines donated by the Government of Australia at Phnom Penh International Airport on Sunday night. Around 783,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccines arrived on Sunday, while the second batch of 1,567,530 doses is expected to arrive on Tuesday. Speaking at the handover ceremony, Prime Minister Hun Sen expressed that he was very happy and thankful to the government and people of Australia for providing vaccines to support Cambodia during the COVID-19 crisis. He stated that this donation is a good gesture by the Government of Australia to the people and government of Cambodia, as well as to humanity as a whole, in the fight against COVID-19, especially in areas where Cambodia is adapting to a new normal path in the context of COVID-19. He continued that since the outbreak and spread of COVID-19 began in Cambodia, the royal government has clearly determined that vaccines are the only way to control and overcome this deadly disease. With this in mind, the government has mobilized a nationwide vaccination program, which has allowed everyone aged 5 and above to receive the vaccine in Cambodia, leading to more than 90% of Cambodia's 16 million population being vaccinated as of 26 December 2021. He stated that the success of the vaccination campaign has allowed the country to fully reopen since 1 November 2021, with high vigilance and responsibility, and also added that the newly arrived Pfizer vaccines from Australia will be dispatched as booster doses to frontline workers in the country first. The Prime Minister continued to say that despite the rising global concern about the new Omicron variant, Cambodia is not worried and will continue to run its economy with strict safety measures and a high level of vigilance in place. He urged everyone to take caution but to not panic because this new variant has so far shown to not be as deadly as previous variants. According to a media release issued by the Australian Embassy, this vaccine donation to Cambodia is part of Australia's commitment to share up to 60 million COVID-19 vaccine doses with the Indo-Pacific region by the end of 2022, with more than 10 million shared to date. The Chargé d'Affaires of the Australian Embassy, Andreas Zerbrugg, stated that Australia is proud to support Cambodia by delivering 2.35 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. He says the vaccine donation is the first time Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines will be used at this scale in the kingdom. He added that Australia has also provided US $28 million in grant funding for a comprehensive package of support for COVID-19 vaccines, which includes helping train healthcare workers and providing logistics support and equipment. Australia is working in partnership with UNICEF and the World Health Organization to support the nationwide vaccination campaign, particularly for the procurement and delivery of vaccines to vulnerable populations in hard-to-reach locations in Cambodia. Darshana Gochan, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen announced on Sunday evening that 15 new important cases of Omicron have been detected in Cambodia, making the total number of Omicron cases in the kingdom rise to 31. This announcement was made by the Prime Minister during his speech at the handover ceremony of Pfizer vaccines from the Government of Australia. About 2.35 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines will be arriving in the kingdom. The first batch arrived on Sunday night, and the next batch is expected to arrive on Tuesday. In light of the new Omicron cases, Prime Minister Hun Sen urged everyone to take caution, but not to panic, because this new variant has so far shown to not be as deadly as previous variants, such as Delta. He highlighted that despite the growing global concern about the Omicron variant, Cambodia is not worried and will continue to run its economy with strict safety measures and a high level of vigilance in place. This confidence comes from the royal government's resolve that vaccines are the only way to control and overcome this deadly disease, and the successful vaccination program in Cambodia, which has seen nearly 90% of the country's 16 million population vaccinated as of 26 December 2021. Yuri Matosco, EAC News. Following an order from Prime Minister Hun Sen to allow positive COVID-19 students to take high school exam, the Ministry of Education has announced on Monday that a special handling of the examination papers is being implemented for those students found positive of the virus.
ថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំក៏បានដោះស្រាយករណីដែលមុននេះអ្នកនាំពាក្យក្រសួងអប់រំយុវជននិងកីឡាបានបញ្ជាក់ថាអ្នកដែលកើត COVID សិស្សដែលកើត COVID គឺមិនអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យមានការជួបប្រឡងខ្ញុំបានស្នើឲ្យមានការកែតម្រូវហើយអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យមានការជួបប្រឡងក៏ប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំក៏សូមស្នើកុំឲ្យវិទ្យាល័យបាក់ទូកដែលមុននេះគ្រោងប្រឡងនៅមណ្ឌលបាក់ទូកមានការស្លន់ស្លោយើងមិនយកសិស្សទាំងពីររូបនេះដែលបានចេញទៅប្រកួតកីឡាដោយមានការចាត់តាំងត្រឹមត្រូវពីក្រសួងអប់រំយុវជននិងកីឡាទៅធ្វើការប្រឡងនៅវិទ្យាល័យបាក់ទូកមណ្ឌលប្រឡងបាក់ទូកទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែយើងរៀបចំចាត់ចែងឲ្យមានការប្រឡងនៅនឹងមន្ទីរពេទ្យតែម្ដងដោយមានគ្រូពេទ្យដោយមានសាស្ត្រាចារ្យរបស់យើងចូលទៅធ្វើការពិនិត្យនៃការប្រឡងនោះ
Minister of Education Hang Chuang-naron has made the announcement at the opening of the examination at Priasi Zawat High School on Monday. He has confirmed that the two examinees who tested positive for COVID-19 with one diagnosed with Omicron is being treated at the National Center for Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control. They are allowed to take the examination like any other student, but they are taking it at the hospital. The minister has added that after the exam, the examination papers of the two students will be sent to a special room with a professor to check.
គឺទាំងអនុរៈទាំងអីហ្នឹងគឺគាត់ពាក់ស្រោមដៃហើយសិលកិច្ចការគឺនឹងដាក់ច្រកចូលនឹងថង់កៅស៊ូរហូតដល់ពេលប្រឡងចប់គឺបិទយកមកកែពិសេសបាទមានន័យថាត្រូវយកដាក់ទៅក្នុងម៉ាស៊ីនសម្រាប់មេរោគហើយបន្ទាប់មកគឺយើងឲ្យគ្រូពិសេសយកមកកែពីអ្នកតែម្ដងដោយមានការប្រុងប្រយ័ត្នជាងសិលកិច្ចការធម្មតាមានន័យថាអ្នកកែត្រូវពាក់ស្រោមដៃហើយពាក់ម៉ាស់បាទហើយបើចាំបាច់គឺអាចពាក់អាវ PPE ទៀតបាទដើម្បីការពារសុវត្ថិភាពអ្នកកែ
The high school exam for the academic year 2020-2021 takes place from 27 to 28 December, with more than 114,000 candidates. The results of the exam will be announced on 18 and 19 January next year. Unlike last year, when all high school students passed the national high school exams without needing to take it due to the hard moments of COVID-19, this year's national exam is going according to the plans. On Monday morning, Cambodia held the high school exams in 4,616 different exams rooms spread around 204 centers in all provinces of the kingdom, including Phnom Penh. The high school exams are predicted to last 2 days on 27 and 28 of December, with a total of 114,180 candidates participating. Minister of Education, Youth and Sports Hang Chuang-naron, as well as the Minister of Environment and head of the Union of Youth Federations of Cambodian Phnom Penh Municipal Branch, Say Samal, held a ceremony at Priasis Awad High School in Phnom Penh, cutting an envelope of an exam subject. Following Prime Minister Hun Sen's recommendation, the 2 students who tested positive for COVID-19 after returning to Cambodia from their Taekwondo competition in Kazakhstan are allowed to take their exams at the treatment centers where they are quarantining. Across the kingdom, the province's governors prepared exam centers for the students. In Ban Thiai Ming Chay, 7 examination centers with 199 examination rooms hosted up to 5,000 candidates. At the same time, Ban Thiai Ming Chay Provincial Administration as well as Serei Support Municipality Administration have issued a notice to all copy and print business in Serei Support Municipality to suspend the operation for 3 days in order to prevent any falsification of the exams. The provincial administration has also issued a notice for hotels, restaurants, and canteens to not raise prices of their food, as well as examine the possibility of discount as much as possible to facilitate the well-being of underprivileged students before or after taking their exams. In Pailing, Governor Bang Seraimon has attended the opening ceremony of the Higher Secondary Diploma Examination Package at the Hun Sen High School Examination Center. On the occasion of presiding over the ceremony, Bang Seraimon has encouraged children taking their exams to work hard, showing their ability and knowledge in order to pass the evaluation with good grades. At the same time, the governor advised students to come to the exam on time, as well as taking care of their health and safety while traveling to the exam centers. According to the report of the director of Pailing Provincial Department of Education, Tang Tiara, there are 2 examination centers in the province, with 505 students taking the exams. Yuri Matusco, EAC News. Parents have mixed feelings while waiting for their children taking the high school exam on Monday. Some of them are very confident that their children will pass the exam. They base it on their children's feelings too. However, the challenges brought by COVID-19, especially the interruptions of the physical classes, have given them uncertainties. EAC News have asked the parents how do they feel about the ongoing back-to examination, if they have high hopes that their children will be among the passers, and they say,
I have high hopes for her too, but just 50% to 60%. Previously, my kid rarely wants to go out, but I don't know how it's going to be because the exam this year is strict and she studied online at home without internet. I don't know how she studied, but when I asked her, she said yes, she did study. I asked her because I rarely have time for her. Anyway, if she doesn't pass the exam, I'm not going to be disappointed. I will just let her continue her studies.
I also have hope on my kids, but not 100%, just only 80%, because he did not take much extra class and also the COVID-19 crisis. So it also has given many struggle for her learning. I only hope 80%, and if she failed the exam, I will still cheer her up because she used to fail her Chinese class at grade 9. I cheer her up to continue her study and she try again, then she passed the certificate. But if she failed this exam, I will still cheer her up, not going to let her be depressed and let her continue her study in another subjects.
I have a high hope around 70% because according to my son, he seems he has a high hope too. He tried to study a lot. All the works that his teacher gave him, he always tried to learn and not give up. So maybe I have hope on him of 70%.
I hope 70%. It is not 100% because in this COVID-19 crisis, they study online and it's not the same as we study physically at school. Even if she pass or fail, she is still my child. This is a mother's heart. I love her with all my heart.
The motherly and fatherly love have prevailed as the high school exam or back to goes on. No matter what the result is, parents are waiting for their children to come home and give their all-out support for their future. Yuri Matosko, EAC News. A week after Prime Minister Hun Sen announced the end of the 20 February community transmission incident, Cambodia has not recorded any local community transmission of COVID-19. On Monday, the Ministry of Health has announced 15 new cases of the virus. All of them are imported, and unfortunately, all of them have the Omicron variant. With the additional imported cases, the kingdom's total tally of COVID-19 is now at 120,464. For the number of recoveries, 13 people have been discharged from the treatment centers overnight. That makes the total recovery number at 116,874. Unluckily, one did not survive the virus. Cambodia's total COVID-19 death toll is now 3,009. The whole kingdom is now treating 581 COVID-19 positive patients.
The Phnom Penh City Hall has announced on Friday that all parents and guardians should bring their children between 12 to 17 years old to receive their booster jab of vaccine against COVID-19, starting next Monday, 3 January. The City Hall has stated in a letter that 42 locations across the capital will be ready to deliver the vaccines. The letter also stressed the success of basic vaccination, meaning first and second doses between this age group, achieving more inoculation than planned. The announcement comes as a reinforcement of the government's plan to control the spread of COVID-19, ending the February 20 community event in the kingdom and ensuring the so-called new normal for the general populations. The letter issued by the City Hall has ensured to notify all parents that such booster doses will be administered only for those children who already have been vaccinated with the first and second doses completed, with 4 months or more from the second dose. After recently receiving vaccines donated by the COVAX Facility program from Japan, as well as the Australian donation of Pfizer vaccine on Sunday, the royal government is aiming to advance the vaccination campaign in the kingdom, which already vaccinated 89% of the total population and more than 101% of the initial target population. As for the booster shot, nearly 3.4 million citizens have already received their rainforest jab. Sri Pokung, EAC News.
Under the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Projects program, also known as the Kusanoni Grant, the government of Japan has agreed to provide a total of $368,000 in grant funding for road and health infrastructure projects across Cambodia. The contracts for the grants were signed on Friday, 24th of December, by the Japanese ambassador to Cambodia, Mikami Masahiro, and respective representatives of recipient organizations. A press release issued by the Japanese embassy states that the Cap Provincial Department of Public Works and Transport will receive $94,000 for a road improvement project in Porn Tok Community, Damnak Changar District, and the Ratanakiri Provincial Department of Health will get $92,000 for the Sre Angkor Health Center construction project. Additionally, more than $86,600 will go to the Angkor Hospital for Children for the installation of new medical equipment in the neonatal intensive care unit of the hospital, while the remaining $19,000 will go to the Dam Nok Tok organization to help improve daycare centers for children with disabilities at the Dam Nok Tok Center in Prey Veng Province. The Kusanoni Grant was launched in 1991 to support reconstruction and development at the grassroots level in Cambodia. The grant aims to support the most vulnerable people due to factors such as poverty and to also promote self-reliance within local communities. Since the grant's inception in 1991, the government of Japan has provided over $64 million to implement 654 projects throughout Cambodia. Yuri Matosco, EAC News.
The Phnom Penh Municipal Court issued an order on Sunday to detain Khmer Rights Party leader Soksowan Watanasabong, also known as William Quang, and his accomplices at Praisor Prison to connection to the robbery case of In Silmay. The detainment comes after prosecutors formally indicted William Quang and his accomplices for aggravated theft, illegal possession of weapons, and forgery of public documents under Article 29, 353, 357, 490, and 629 of the Penal Code. The robbery of In Silmay took place a week ago, where a group of 5 thieves armed with weapons and impersonating authority came into the tycoon house with a fake arrest warrant to steal some diamond, jewelry, and iPhone worth a total of between $1.6 $1.9 million. William Quang and 11 other suspects were arrested the next day by the Phnom Penh Gendarmerie on December 20 at Quang's residence in Mien Chay District, Phnom Penh. During the raid, the Phnom Penh Gendarmerie were able to retrieve the stolen item and also confiscated a total of 6 firearms. Quang has admitted to the robbery of In Silmay, stating that it had been planned a day in advance and he had acted as the leader of the 5 people who came into the tycoon house. He stated that the reason he decided to rob her was because he lacks the money to support his livelihood and his party members, and because he has a pessimistic view of the rich who show off their wealth on social media. He said that he wanted to send a message to rich people who flaunt their wealth, and also admitted to have planned 2 robberies in the past. The first robbery, he said, he was attempted on November 25, targeted at the owner of Boraimon Dani in Kong Pisai District, Kampong Speu Province. But it failed, because the victim was not in the car they robbed as expected. The second robbery was the one targeted at In Silmay. Quang and his accomplices are currently being held at Praisor Prison, where they await trial. Srei Pokong, EAC News.
The World Health Organization announced on Friday that the Omicron variant has been identified in 110 countries and regions around the world as of Thursday. According to WHO's conference on Thursday, infections of the Omicron coronavirus variant are showing an apparent growth trend compared with that of the Delta variant. In countries and regions with community transmission cases, Omicron spread significantly faster than Delta, with a doubling time between 2 and 3 days. On the other hand, early-stage research data from South Africa, the United Kingdom, and Denmark show that the Omicron strain has a lower hospitalization risk than Delta. Research data on the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines against Omicron is still relatively limited. While in most countries only a few positive cases of Omicron have been detected, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and Denmark are among the worst affected. Even though a majority of the population of these countries have been vaccinated, a breakthrough infection has stirred fear worldwide. Ever since the origination of COVID-19, several strains of the coronavirus have been detected from different parts of the world, including Alpha, Beta, and Lambda. Out of all, Delta was the most severe one, which led to a significant second wave of COVID-19 cases earlier this year. Experts believe that Omicron, being a highly transmissible strain, can become the dominant variant very soon. Although the symptoms of Omicron are milder and do not cause severe disease, it is likely to spread to a larger population. Omicron is still very new and not much is known yet about this strain, with researchers across the globe still working hard to better understand its nature. Experts are still skeptical about the effectiveness of the vaccines against Omicron. Some believe that this strain can surpass the immunity gained by natural infection and vaccination. Cambodia confirms 15 new Omicron cases, bringing the total number of Omicron cases in the kingdom to 31. Thailand and Singapore have joined Japan in closing their borders to most foreign travelers. All 3 countries have reported domestic cases of the new variant, suggesting Omicron will spread even without new arrivals from abroad. Darshana Gauchan, EAC News.
Thailand has boosted security in the northern part of the country, which borders Myanmar on Sunday, as it braced for more refugees amid an escalation of violence in the neighboring country. Thai authorities have issued a statement on Saturday, saying 3 shells of unknown origin had fallen into the Thailand side, with one causing some damage to a Thai citizen's property without reports of injuries or death. The statement was published along with a video of Border Patrol police entering the border village in armored vehicles. Authorities have said that recent clashes between the Myanmar military and the ethnic Karen resistance movement across the border have prompted more than 5,000 people from Myanmar to flee into Tax Mae Sot district. More than 30 people, including women and children, were killed and their bodies burned in Myanmar's conflict-torn Kaya state on Friday. Tak Governor Somchai Ketcharoenrongro has said that as of Sunday, 5,358 villagers from Myanmar had crossed the Moy River to seek refuge in Thai soil. He also said that security officials have also extended humanitarian assistance to refugees sheltering in Mae Sot and Phop Prat districts, where those injured are being treated by medics. Myanmar has been in turmoil since the military on February 1st overthrowing the elected government of Nobel Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, who has been sentenced to 4 years detention and faces multiple other criminal charges. At least 1,375 people have been killed and more than 8,000 jailed in crackdowns on protests and armed opposition since the coup, according to a tally of the Association for Assistance of Political Prisoners.
South Africans mourned the death of Archbishop Desmond Tutu on Sunday, calling him an icon and a great man.
It is with great sadness that I have to announce that our dearly beloved Archbishop Emeritus of Cape Town and the 1984 Nobel Peace Laureate Desmond Tutu died a short while ago at the age of 90.
He's been the key figure for all our Anglicans. He's been a key figure in the world. And we're going to miss him dearly. His legacy will live on forever. Rest in peace, daughter. Rest in peace.
It's actually very sad, and I don't think not only for South Africa, but for Africa as a continent. We have lost a great icon, a father, a human who was there not just for the South African people, but for Africa as a nation, Africa as a unit, Africa as one.
I feel very, very, very down emotionally right now, because he was somebody that almost everybody liked, especially the kids. They love him.
Tributes poured in from all over the world on Sunday following the death of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Nobel Peace Prize laureate and veteran of South Africa's struggle against white minority rule. South Africans have gathered outside his former parish at St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town, which used to be a safe haven for anti-apartheid activists, to lay flowers. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama were amongst those who paid tribute to Tutu on social media. In 1984, South African cleric and activist Desmond Tutu won the Nobel Peace Prize for his nonviolent opposition to apartheid. A decade later, he witnessed the end of that regime and chaired a Truth and Reconciliation Commission set up to unearth atrocities committed during those dark days. The outspoken Tutu was considered the nation's conscience by both Black and white citizens, an enduring testament to his faith and spirit of reconciliation in a divided nation. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer in the late 1990s, and in recent years was hospitalized on several occasions to treat infections associated with his cancer. Queen Elizabeth of England was quoted saying, "Archbishop Tutu's loss will be felt by the people of South Africa and by so many people in Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and across the Commonwealth, where he was held in such high affection and esteem."
More than 30 people, including elderly people, women and children, were killed and their bodies burnt in Myanmar's conflict-torn Kayah state on Friday. The report was according to a local resident, media reports, and a local human rights group. Karenni Human Rights Group has said that they strongly denounce the inhuman and brutal killing which violates human rights. They found the burned bodies of internally displaced people, including elderly people, women, and children, killed by the military rulers of Myanmar near Moso village of Broso town on Saturday. The Myanmar military has said it had shot and killed an unspecified number of terrorists with weapons from the opposition armed forces in the village. Accordingly, the people were in 7 vehicles and did not stop for the military. The military could not be immediately reached for comment. The Karenni Nationalities Defense Force, one of the largest of several civilian militias opposing the generals who led a February 1 coup, said the dead were not their members but civilians seeking refuge from the conflict. The United States Embassy in Myanmar has announced it was appalled by this barbaric attack in Kayah State that killed at least 35 civilians.
A suicide bomber struck a restaurant in the city of Beni in East Congo on Saturday, 25 December, killing at least 8 people, including 2 local officials and himself. The incident was confirmed by officials. According to a security official in Beni, the explosion took place at Inbox Bar, where people were celebrating Christmas. 20 people were wounded, government spokesman Patrick Moyaya has announced. The attack marks the latest violence in a region where Congolese and Ugandan forces have launched a campaign against suspected Islamists. Graphic footage shows body parts and bodies strewn on the ground in the aftermath of the suicide bombing. Regional governor spokesman General Kengis Lavin has said in a statement that the suicide bomber, prevented by security guards from entering a crowded bar, has activated the bomb at the entrance of the bar. 2 women, a teenager, and a small girl were among those killed. The insurgents from the Allied Democratic Forces (ADF), a group aligned with the Islamic State, had activated a sleeper cell in Beni to target citizens. Officials have previously blamed the group for bombings in the region. Police spokesman Nasson Murada said that officers fired live rounds to disperse an angry crowd that attempted to bar investigators from assessing the scene of the explosion. He said no one was injured.
The bodies of more than a dozen migrants who drowned trying to cross the Mediterranean to Europe washed up on Libya's coastline late on Christmas Day. Its Interior Ministry and the local Red Crescent has confirmed the incident. Libya is a major transit point for migrants, many from African countries who are seeking better opportunities in Europe. The Red Crescent in Combs, a port in western Libya, said 17 bodies, including that of an infant, had been recovered from the shore on Saturday, and that another 10 bodies had been found on a different beach. The Interior Ministry later has confirmed 14 bodies had been recovered from a group of 60 people believed missing at sea. The bodies were still intact. There were 14 of them, along with 1 small baby. The United Nations Migration Agency said last week that larger numbers of people have been trying to cross the Mediterranean this year, after several years of reduced numbers since 2015. About 1,500 have drowned in 2021. The agency's Missing Migrants project has designated the Central Mediterranean route as the deadliest known migration route in the world, with more than 17,000 recorded deaths and disappearances since 2014.
After the break, a look at your sports news.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, please, please wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has personally awarded the team of the Director General of Immigration, Kurt Shantared, for winning the 5th Samdech Techo Hun Sen Tournament 2021 held in Kandal Province on Saturday. Second place is from the team of Deputy Prime Minister Ping Chen, followed by the team of O Kamu. Representing the organizers of the competition, the Minister of Tourism, Ton Kon, said that the 5th Samdech Techo Cup 2021 was organized in order to celebrate the 23rd anniversary of the win-win policy of Prime Minister Hun Sen, which has brought peace, stability, and development to the country. The Samdech Techo Hun Sen Golf Tournament was opened by Prime Minister Hun Sen on Saturday morning at Vatanak Golf Resort, Tak Mau City, Kandal Province, with sponsorships worth more than $100,000. The rest of the amount will be donated to the Golf Federation of Cambodia for the benefit of the federation, including training and sending people abroad for golf competitions. Speaking at the opening ceremony, the Minister of National Defense and President of the Golf Federation of Cambodia, Thia Ban, said that due to the success of Prime Minister's win-win policy, Cambodia has transformed itself from a war-torn country to one that is stable, peaceful, and united, and making progress in all areas, especially sports, as exemplified by the golf tournament. Hun Sen's win-win policy was launched on 29 December 1998, which welcomed all Cambodians to unite and build a nation, bringing complete peace and national unity that provided numerous opportunities for Cambodians' development. Cambodia recently reached a lower middle-income country status and is aspiring to become an upper middle-income country by 2030. Yuri Matosco, EAC News.
England's cricket team have been cleared to play Day 2 of the 3rd Ashes Test in Melbourne. This was after 2 members of the support staff and 2 of their family members were forced to isolate after testing positive for COVID-19. The England team initially reported only one positive test among the team's family group, but host board Cricket Australia confirmed there had been a rash of cases in the camp. Cricket Australia has issued a statement saying they have been informed that 2 members of the England cricket team's support staff and 2 of their family members returned positive COVID-19 rapid antigen tests and that the affected individuals are currently isolating. The team has also added that the entire playing group and all other support staff have undertaken rapid antigen tests in the morning and all have tested negative. The England cricket team will also have PCR tests on Monday, and both teams will take extra precautions throughout play. Both playing squads have remained unchanged. Play was delayed half an hour to start at 11 a.m. local time. The England team reported the sole COVID-19 case just over an hour before play was to start. Some 20 minutes later, the team said it had been given the green light to head to Melbourne Cricket Ground. Australia will resume on 61 for 1 in reply to England's first innings 185. Australia lead the series 2-0 and can retain the Ashes with a draw in Melbourne. Cricket Australia said there was no impact on fans or other parts of the MCG, but host broadcaster 7 Network confirmed one of its staff members working on the Ashes at the stadium had tested positive for COVID-19 late on Sunday. Australia captain Pat Cummins was forced to miss the second test in Adelaide, having to isolate for a week after being identified as a close contact of a confirmed COVID-19 case. Australian authorities are currently battling a surge in COVID-19 cases driven by the Omicron variant.
China is using the Winter Olympic Games to drive its efforts to improve the environment, but smog-prone capital Beijing is still preparing for the worst as the opening ceremony looms. Beijing has improved its air quality since China won its bid to host the Games, but the Ministry of Ecology and Environment has said winter smog risks remained severe and contingency plans were in place. Rumors that polluting heavy industries in the area will be shuttered from January 1st were not true, however, a spokesperson from the ministry said. Critics warned in 2015 when China won its bid that the Winter Olympics could be overshadowed by hazardous smog in a region dominated by heavy industry. Chinese President Xi Jinping subsequently vowed to run a Green Games and Hebei promised to transform and upgrade its industrial economy. Since then, China has planted thousands of hectares of trees in Beijing and surrounding Hebei province, built sprawling wind and solar farms, and relocated hundreds of enterprises. In Zhangjiakou City, 200 kilometers northwest of Beijing and host to skiing and snowboarding events, 26-year-old amateur skier Deng Zhongping said he has already felt the difference. He said it's very obvious because he has rhinitis, and these years he has returned to Beijing and found that the sky has become noticeably bluer, and he has not been affected by rhinitis again. Officials said during a government organizing tour this week that all 26 Olympic venues in Beijing and Hebei province will be 100% powered by renewable energy. More than 700 hydrogen-fueled vehicles will be also deployed, despite the government falling short of a hydrogen production target. Preparations have included a tree planting program that increased forest coverage in Zhangjiakou to 70 to 80%, up from 56 previously. China has also said it will make the Games carbon neutral for the first time. Environmental group Greenpeace, though, said without more data, it will be hard to evaluate whether the goal was actually met. Water scarcity is another concern, especially when it comes to creating artificial snow and ice. Organizers said the Games will not put additional pressure on local water supplies and rely instead of cisterns that collected mountain runoff and rainfall during the summer, in line with China's wider efforts to create a circular economy in which resources are fully utilized and recycled.
Hundreds of swimmers braved the freezing waters of Prague's Vltava River on Sunday in honor of winter swimming pioneer Alfred Nikodem. The 360 participants from 8 different countries, including Poland, the United States, and England, took part in the 100, 300, and 750-meter distance swimming categories. The air temperature was negative 6 degrees Celsius, and the water temperature hovered between 3 to 4 degrees, the lowest temperature in many years. Long-distance swimmer Lenka Sterbova finished in 9 minutes and 11 seconds, winning the 750 meters race.
It was really freezing this year and cold also outside the water. I am rushing up to get indoor where I could defrost near the heater.
The weather did not help us during the night a lot. The water temperature fall of 1 degree on 3-4 degrees Celsius, and the air is 6 degrees under zero, which are the ideal condition for the winter swimmers.
Longtime winter swimmer Richard Hahn says that it is an exception when the water is under 4 degrees Celsius. Alfred Nikodem was a well-known Prague goldsmith and founder of winter swimming in the Czech countries. He braved the cold waters in Prague with a few of his peers in 1923. 5 years later, more than 50 people were swimming with him. Since then, the tradition of winter swimming has been kept alive every year.
All right, let's have a look at what the weather's going to be playing at tomorrow.
A tiny frog found in a box of romaine lettuce became an overnight viral sensation after several escape attempts and its eventual adoption by the man who found it. A 35-year-old singer-songwriter from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Simon Curtis, has found a green tree frog in a box of lettuce last Monday, 4 days after he bought the salad greens.
I was prepping my dinner and I had opened a box of lettuce. And I was using the very last bit of the romaine and I pulled it out and then I saw, at first what I thought was another bit of lettuce at the bottom, and then I realized that it was a frog just sitting there perfectly still. And I kind of shouted and was like, oh my God!
Curtis sought the help and advice on Twitter on what to do, as it was negative 2 degrees Celsius in Tulsa at the time and the frog would have frozen to death if it had been released.
I came down and I went to check on him and he was gone. And so we all started, freaking out a little bit. And within a couple of moments, I looked over and I saw that he was up on the door frame, really high up. And
he later named the frog Tony and said that finding him had been a full circle moment. As a leukemia survivor, Curtis spent part of his childhood in the hospital, accompanied by none other than a tree frog soft toy. He says Tony himself feels like such a little survivor.
When I was a kid, I had leukemia, and I was given a 50-50 chance of surviving, and I was very sick in the hospital for a long time. And when I was in the hospital, I begged my parents for the stuffed animal from the gift shop, and it was a tree frog. And I found pictures of it yesterday, and it really made me emotional because I had this tree frog with me the entire time through that experience. And Tony himself he feels like such a little survivor that it was really beautiful having this full circle moment. It made me very emotional, and it really felt like a Christmas miracle.
Animals found in supermarket greens are not a rare occurrence. There were 40 unique incidents of unwanted frogs, birds, or rodents in prepackaged greens across the United States between 2003 to 2018, according to a 2019 study by University of Illinois researcher David Hughes, with at least 9 frogs found alive while still in the box. Tony the frog's stay with Curtis has been eventful. However, with several escape attempts until Curtis purchased a small temporary terrarium for the amphibian. He had been found up on a door frame and even between shampoo bottles in the shower. The frog story has went viral on social media and touched many. Curtis says it served as a good reminder of just how much we all deserve kindness. He has added that we really are all on our own miraculous journey in a box, waiting for someone to find us and show us true kindness.
Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News channel. For more breaking news and updates, check out our website eacnews.asia or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I will see you then.